Hi friends, today is an exciting video because we got a new brush. Not only do we have a new brush, but we got a collab situation going on between Rephr and Alexandra Anele, who I would like to say we got the same initials. We're part of the AA club. Finally got the collab brush and I was delighted to see the release on Instagram. And we're gonna go over everything as you know, or if you're new here, hi, I'm Alicia. I love to review different types of brushes. I love Fude, Japanese made brushes, and this is in fact also made in Japan, but we'll get into the brush details, the close-ups, the demos. And if you don't know Alexandra Anele, she is a beauty YouTuber here in the space and is still holding down tutorial life, still showing us how to achieve glowy skin without looking oily and other types of videos. But what I admire about Alexandra is the way she films, and not only her videos but how she shoots her photos. A true artist in every sense of the word. Only someone I could admire, aspire to be like. I'm just here in my small internet corner talking about brushes, okay? But I'm grateful to have received the brush in advance. Thank you to Alexandra and the Rephr team for sending. The details of the brush are as follows. It will be available on August 6th and retails for $35. In addition to this brush, you could also purchase a bundle with Alexandra's favorite eye brushes, and that retails for $75, which is significantly reduced if it was regularly priced. But now we've arrived to why Alexandra designed the brush that she did and the unique features in the brush. Well, the first thing that I noticed, and we got a little card here also, this is the photo that I first saw and I was like, oh yes, excited to have seen it. But it's hard to tell in the photo what this brush's design is truly like. I thought it was going to be just based on what I saw here, a small cheek brush, right? Maybe, you know, airy at the tips and dense in the body. But when I actually saw it in person, actually specifically after I washed it, which I would highly recommend that you do to get the ultimate fluff effect, this is the ultimate cheek fingertip brush. You know what I'm talking about. If you are a collector of Fude and are well versed in Fude brushes, there is what I like to call a fingertip brush. Where is it? I showed this in my July favorites, but as context, this is the Yoshiki and Bobo collab brush. It's the 3D fingertip brush. It's called that because there are different lengths of bristles on one side and the other is straight. So this is like the ultimate fingertip pickup cheek brush of our dreams. And I would highly recommend that you see Alexandra's video where she explains the genesis of this brush, where how excited she was when Rephr approached her to design a brush, and she knew immediately what she wanted to create based off, I think, their number 8, but something smaller, something more specific, because I'm not sure if you checked out AA's makeup technique, but Alex be loving some precise cheek work, and I think that's what she was seeking in a brush, to achieve these just more sculpted looks in the hollows of the cheeks, and with whether it be powder or cream. And the bristle type is hybrid. This is a hybrid brush. We have a mixture of natural and synthetic goat hair, which I like that she went with, because typically with varying brush lengths, if it's all natural, it tends to get a little wiry and out of control. But when you have the synthetic fibers in there, I think it just keeps the brush a little more uniform in shape, and I'm happy they went with both synthetic and natural, which actually adds to the brush's resilience with creams and liquids, and also can be used with powders, can be washed more frequently, and that's not going to ruin the brush as if it were all natural, as an example. And we also have a longer handle. This is not the typical Rephr brush length that you see in their core collection. This is a little longer, and that was one of the main pieces of feedback that was provided when Alexandra released the brush as beta. Her and Rephr wanted to acquire as much feedback as possible so everyone can help her steer in the right direction where she wanted this brush's design to go, and one being wishing it had a longer handle, and the second, it being a little tighter, because I believe the first iteration was a little too flexible. It didn't have enough elasticity and body to it to feel that there was feedback on the face, right? And that's something that I've also experienced with some brushes, that it's soft, but it doesn't have that workhorse quality about it, right? Because I think to have something air light at the tip, but have that main blendability be in the 3/4 of the brush that I think we all would like in our blenders, especially from the cheek category. And that's exactly what emerged from this interaction, from the users who tried the first prototype and arrived at these conclusions. And here we have the final result. And again, when I saw that it was like the ultimate pickup cheek brush, my mind just exploded, because I'm like, I want to use it with this, with this, with this, with this. And I made sure to watch Alexandra's video first. At this point in time, she only has the announcement video out, and make sure you look out for more demo videos from her, because I think she's going to go willy-nilly with how many products you could use this brush with. I wanted to go willy-nilly because I had questions. I'm like, how does it work with this and that? And I immediately thought about foundation, because when I saw that it was possibly all goat hair, which typically with undyed goat hair you can use with creams and liquids, albeit not as frequently as I would recommend that you would with the synthetic fiber, but because it's hybrid, I wanted to see how we would go with foundation application. And I decided to use it with the Haus Labs and Auric Glow Lust, and my goodness, I classify this type of foundation application as the makeup artist air light blend, because there's something so soft and veil light when applying foundation with a small cheek brush such as this. It's flexible at the tip but strong from mid to base, where you could get really nice blending but not so much product on the skin. And that's what I did here, and I understand the limitations when using a brush this small to apply foundation all over your face. Is going to take longer, sure, but I think you'll receive just a smooth finish, more on the natural side. It's not going to be a heavy application of makeup, right? And if that's something that you want to achieve on a daily basis, or even on special occasions, you don't use foundation often, you use skin tints usually, what have you, this will apply a little more coverage, but not so much that it's going to appear heavy. And that's what I discovered using AA01 with foundation, and I loved the finish. I think it blended the foundation beautifully. I didn't have to use a lot. In fact, I think I prepared far too much, but whatever I used was just enough, because despite the brush's size, it spread the foundation well, evenly across my forehead, my cheeks, my nose, again, not in a heavy fashion. And I decided, why not? Let me plop on some concealer under the eyes. This brush is probably a little too big for concealer under the eyes, 100%. However, if I was in a bind and this was the only brush I had, it applied my concealer just fine. If you wanted more coverage, then yes, I would recommend that you use a smaller brush that's naturally more precise, that you use a sponge, whatever your preferences are, that's the tool you reach for. But again, if I just wanted to not switch brushes, I would use the same brush for concealer. Now that we've discovered how it fares with foundation, with concealer, I immediately wanted to use it with powder. Typically, when switching mediums, I would recommend that you gently wipe the brush with a microfiber or a regular cotton towel, whatever you have on hand, to release the excess product from the bristles, so that when you now go into the powder, that excess wet product is not going to mix with the powder and appear heavy and muddy and crazy under the eyes. We don't want that. I naturally had to go in with Suku's Blurring Blush in 101. Although it is a blush, I have been using the heck out of this for under my eyes, simply because of the smooth texture and the color. And the brush picked up the powder just fine. Laid it on lightly. It did not look heavy under the eyes. And yes, I know that is largely due to the formula and how lightweight it is on its own, but the brush didn't pick up so much product that it appeared heavy under the eyes. Was happy with that application. And because Alexandra had mentioned that she wanted a small cheek brush that will precisely apply cheek products on her face, you know, into the hollows, I wanted to use, and I haven't used it in a long time, by the way, Westman Atelier's the contour stick in Truffle, because I thought about the brush's size and how well it could be used with just brushing a stick and getting just enough product to blend on the hollows of the cheeks, instead of putting the stick on, which you can do 100%. You could do the stick, you could do concealer, or you could do a little foundation into the hollows in whatever undertone or color you want. But this is where I felt the brush truly shine, and where I experienced Alexandra's vision for having a brush such as this to precisely place contour into the hollows of the cheeks in a precise fashion, yes, but it's still going to blend out the product. You're not going to get just a harsh line of contour or bronzer into your cheeks, it's going to place the product there, but because of the varying length of the brush, it naturally blends as it places at the same time. It just does the work for you virtually. I do recommend, however, if you want to limit how much blending you do and not overwhelm the cheeks with product, that you take the product off first from the stick and then go on your face. I personally think that's the best way to go. So we went in with that, and I thought about Danessa's Groundworks palette. I was so excited. I don't know if you could catch me in the footage here, but I realized that the shape of the brush is perfect for the velvet pomade pan size. We're gonna get into that in a minute, but we're gonna get into the Dior Forever because of the slant the brush has, the way it just hugs the cheekbones, okay? If you have problems applying highlight on your cheekbones, cream highlight, liquid highlight, the brush places it there in a way that's easy, that's simple, right where you need it to go. Whether you want it higher on the cheekbones, a little lower here around the apples of the cheek region, and that just melted into my skin. And that's when I was like, I gotta get Blooming Romance, and decided to go in with Dreamy. And sure, is the brush exactly the pan size? No, you can maneuver it by brushing it on the front and then pulling it through the sides to get nice product. But oh my goodness, this is what I was looking for, because one of the critiques with the Groundwork series is the velvet pomade texture is hard to pick up with certain types of brushes, Now you're not going to have a problem. If you get Alexandra's brush and you have the Groundwork palettes, and I know I did not use defining neutrals. I could have used defining neutrals with AA01. We're gonna get there. Listen, the shorts are coming, okay? I loved how this easily placed Dreamy on my cheeks. If you were concerned with the brush's size, seeing it that it's small, thinking that it's not going to diffuse your blush in a fashion that you like for it to appear blown out, more like Goddess Fairy-like, the brush is going to do that. It spreads the product well. It doesn't move your foundation or anything you apply your blush on top of. It just moves the product quickly, and I think that is an advantage, especially where you like to apply a lot of products on the apples of your cheeks in various finishes. Matte here on the lower end, pearl on the higher end. You now have the ability to do that because of the brush's size. It's versatile in that respect, but functional with these different types of mediums, going from liquid to powder. I was thrilled, and we're going to be using the heck out of Groundworks, but hopping into Suku's blurring, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Despite the brush's size, okay, it's not going to appear, or rather your blush is not going to appear tight on the apples of your cheeks and weirdly precise. No, the brush will diffuse the product, but you have the option, because it's hard to go from big to small, right? If you have a larger cheek brush, harder to get precise unless you just apply product to a small portion of the brush. Where if you have a smaller brush, you can move it in a way that will diffuse and spread the product to your preference and how you want your cheek products to appear. And for the final touch, we went in with Addiction Tokyo's Golden Sun highlighter. Listen, I know I had the star filter on the cheekbones already, but easy peasy. Again, because of the taper, the brush picks up product. I mean, if you want a little bit of product, you tap. If you want a lot of product, you zigzag. So just know, depending on how you place your brush in the pan, is going to largely determine how much product you get on your face. If you want a little bit, don't zigzag, because this brush will pick up a lot, especially if it's a soft powder texture like what's found here in the Addiction Tokyo powder highlighter. It just melted onto the cheekbones, okay? You saw the demo. And here are some close-up shots of how my skin texture looks. Delightfully happy with this cheek brush. I just love cheek brushes just because of the wide spectrum of tasks it can cover, from complexion to cheek. If you wanted to economize your brush collection, make it a little more efficient, not having, because Alexandra has said this herself, that she don't like reaching for different types of brushes, okay? Just to have one in covering as many makeup tasks as possible and performing them all beautifully is a win. Now, I do have my favorite foundation brushes and concealer brushes and powder brushes. Yes, I do. I found this was delightful to use with the cheek products. This is where the brush truly shines and where you can firsthand experience Alexandra's vision with the precise contouring and having the blend look smooth and diffused. and blurred. Watch out with the contouring now, because I usually don't do it often. I've been on like a huge blush kick and just getting real blown out here on the center of my face. Now I'm back into the contour thing, okay, family? So get ready for some cut cheeks, okay? Now, in terms of the handle length, I can understand where one will feel more comfortable in holding the brush near to the end and feeling like they got a little more space to work with, versus with the shorter handle, maybe it's too close. I do think it all depends on the user, but clearly the majority called for a longer handle, and it feels very artistic. You know what I mean? Congratulations, Alexandra. What a wonderful brush you have added to the Rephr collection and to our collections now. Let me know if you have your eye on Alexandra's brush down below, if there are any products you cannot wait to use it with. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching my entire video. If you happen to like it in some capacity, please click that subscribe button, like the video, maybe share, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.